Block Ram 313 back at it again because you know this is therapeutic, man. Thank you for tuning in to yet another therapy session. Jumping right into this therapy session, the title of the video proper is The Catch and Release Method, also known as the pump and the dump. Many of us in this community are fed up with the options that are available on the modern day dating scene. So in this community, we have sought to disqualify ourselves in some circles from the idea of being involved in a long-term relationship. The idea of building a family, the idea of marriage and children, is one in which many of us, the wise among us, refuse to participate in such so-called American dream. The idea of binding yourself to a legal contract, a third-party contract, in which there can be sanctions against you in the form of alimony, in the form of child support, if the relationship goes south, and we know that she will always leave you. Many of us are not willing to take such risk, and many of us have already plunged in such, and we are seeking to manage these difficult situations that are at hand or are present in our lives. We understand that the idea of modern marriage is an outdated one. We understand that the idea of finding the Nawalt, the idea of finding that someone that we can live our lives with and be fulfilled, is just a dream. Most dating options that we have in this day are of such low quality that it would be wise not to deal with any of them at all. And if we are to deal with such, then it makes sense to only deal in the short term. So for those, myself included, who wish to deal in the short term effectively, efficiently, that way will be, and most commonly called, the pump and the dump, the catch and release. Many of us, again, feel that this is the best choice, the best option to deal with the modern day succubus or the rabid snow bunnies, and even the rotten Chiquita banana, otherwise known as the modern American femme. So you meet her, you catch, you accomplish your goals of intimacy, and then you release. You pump and dump. This is efficiency. However, in this method is an inherent danger. There are variables that can cause problems in our lives. Out the gate, when you seek to meet a woman in this modern day era, there's a thing called street harassment. When you try to approach her in the field, it could be met with disdain, which can lead to sanctions against you, possibly. And upon your meeting, your initial meeting, trying to get to know her, there can be allegations that are not truthful lobbed at you. And moving along to the encounter, the whole goal of the talking, the whole goal of the approach, even after such said encounter of intimacy, she can then change her mind about the whole interaction after the fact. what was first consented to. And after the act is now, I don't have to spell it out. She's changed her mind, and the authorities can have you detained pending a trial. A sad state of affairs. So you pump and dump, and her feelings are hurt. She feels played. She has in this society, the gynocracy, the power to punish. And knowing her nature and having this power, it is not wise to deal with them at all. We do need therapy to break ourselves from such a dependency. But until we overcome such weaknesses, we seek to minimize as much of the risk as humanly possible. Me personally, my biblical leanings don't necessarily allow me to pump and dump. However, there is still a way of me to, or for me to achieve such goals without breaking the rules of the book. We'll talk about that more later. I like to think of the idea of the pump and dump as being not just an option, but the only reasonable way to deal with the modern dating scene. Again, I have to state that this is dangerous. Not that we should walk around in fear, but you have to have a brain. You have to be wise. You have to be careful. And having said such, there is a way that we can do this and also minimize the risk that are naturally associated with it. Reminds me of a scene. A scene in Enter the Dragon. Grew up watching the great Bruce Lee, watching his films as a kid. And in the movie Enter the Dragon, he's on a ship. And a guy wants to test him. He wants to see his fighting style. And he asked Bruce, "What is your style? Show me some of it." Bruce Lee replied, "His fighting style is the art of fighting without fighting." And the gentleman said, "Show me some of this." So Bruce says, "Let's go to this island." And they proceeded to get into the boat, except Bruce made sure he was last. The guy entered first. And as you may have well know in the scene, Bruce allows the man to get on the boat, and the boat drifts away without him on there. Now, what Bruce Lee effectively did was outsmart the guy. He fought him without fighting. The point in the story, what I take from this, is that we have to learn to be wise, to fight without fighting, to outsmart our opponent. And your opponent is all those that participate in a gynocracy, the whole blue pill world, the simps, the succubus, all of them alike. We have to be wiser than they are, smarter than they are. We have to understand that it's dangerous to pump and dump. We got to understand that there can be blowback, repercussions if you upset the goddesses. So how do we navigate around such a dangerous environment that is so set against us? How do we safely catch and release? How do we safely pump and dump? Black Ram has some answers. Now here is some impeccable, some unbreakable, untouchable game that I'm about to spit. Ram is not just the guy who says you should stay away from the ladies and go your own way. But I am also the guy that is full of game for those who want to deal. Full of the game, straight G. The game for me is like being possessed. I possess it. like a spirit exorcist, if you will. The power of Christ compels you levitate with the game. I'm just no longer playing, but I still can coach here and there. The game is in me and not on me. I'm laced with it. I understand it. Combining my understanding with female nature, combining my understanding of the society in which we now live with straight natural game that I learned on the streets of Chicago's West Side growing up from my peers that were players. So the game is real. The mouthpiece is everything. The game can be used to meet your dating goals. So here's some game. Drum roll, please. Let me tell you how to pump and dump, catch and release with efficiency to avoid the pitfalls, the problems, the repercussions, the retaliation of the succubus, the rabbit snow bunny, the Chiquita bananas, the rotten ones. Let me explain to you how to do such things efficiently. Let me spit some game in your ear, man. Let me chop this up so you can use it if you want to deal with them. So here we go. The game is to always, again, the game is to always get her and allow her to fire you, to dump you, to release you. Remember now, she has the state, public opinion, the whole world on her side, and you are the big bad evil man. She will always be the damsel in distress. But always let her fire you. Again, this is the game. This is the safest, but not foolproof. Nothing is. But this is the safest way to end your interactions with the opposite gender. This is an adaptation to the adversarial environment in which we now live. You don't want fake claims thrown at you, fake stories, allegations. We must play it safe. Again, the idea that you can have such things thrown your way should be reason enough to avoid dating altogether, but it is a matter of our own personal choice. But if you are going to deal, you must adapt. Always let her fire you. For me, I'm smooth, man. I'm not rough. The game is about finesse. I finesse these chicks, boy. I ain't no goofy. Always be nice to them, though. Be nice. See, I'm the calm, the cool, no need to be rude type of guy. I'm a king, however, a humble king. You don't have to pump, dump, and diss them. There's no need for it. But you get her to release you. But be smooth about it. When you deal with them, be smooth, be calm, be cool. That's game. Be nice. Be friendly. Be a gentleman at all times. That doesn't mean being a simp. You can hold your own. You can possess the game. You can be red pill and steal. Be a gentleman. Your goal is not to offend when you have interactions with the opposite gender. Your goal is to accomplish that in which your biology necessitates until you can get to the point where you can beat your biology. Again, you get her to release you. See, when it's her idea to release, when it's her idea to dump you, to leave you alone, she then feels empowered. She feels empowered by this. She gets satisfaction in this. It gives her the feeling of authority. She's in the driver's seat. Control, strong and independent. An ego boost and an ego stroke. But you are smarter than that. You're smarter than her. You don't need the ego. Lose your ego. Be covert. This is not the time for ego. This is not our society. This is not our world. We're just trying to navigate efficiently through it. Lose the ego. I didn't say lose your self-respect. Big difference. Outsmart her. Allow her to think that she's the winner. The art of fighting without fighting. Some Bruce Lee game for you. This is efficient. This is effective. Let her have her moment. Let her appear strong. But you are the real one. You're the one with real strength. You met your first goal, the pump and the catch. Then you meet your second goal, which is the release. But you are allowing her to do the releasing. Therefore, the winner is you. Because that's your goal anyway. See, what you have done in letting her fire you is that you have reversed the game. Remember old school wrestling? Ric Flair and his signature move, the figure 4 leg lock. But although this was a signature move, there was a reversal for such a move. I believe it was Sting was the first one, if I'm not mistaken, to reverse the figure 4 leg lock. So remember, when she dumps you, you are reversing the game that you're intended in anyway. Reverse the game. Reverse psychology. And for me, I would even embellish a little bit and pretend to be disappointed, pretend to be hurt, to give her even more satisfaction, which will ensure that she will never return to you. When she runs away, which is what you want her to do anyway, as a cat, when you chase it, it runs. Pretend to be disappointed, pretend to be hurt, frown on the outside, but smile on the inside. Again, this is game. Nickel slick game. Now, since you have skillfully made her walk away, you are now free to go on to the next encounter. The pump and the dump, the catch and release, reversed to you catching and her releasing. You pumping and she does the dumping. Now, how is such a thing accomplished practically? You may say, hey, Black Ram, how in the world do you get her to release you? How? Why would she? Especially if you're a hell of a stud like myself, it ain't easy to get him to walk away from you. And I am, again, a hell of a stud. But how can we accomplish this? Why would she leave you? Well, we know they leave it anyway. But after the initial interaction, why would she leave? And it can be due simply to a conflict of values and interest. She's turned off, or the goal is to turn her off. Not to anger her, but to simply turn her off. Turn her off so there can be a minimal risk, if at all, of retaliation on her part. When you turn her off and she walks away, it's her idea to leave you, then maybe your car windows will be safe. Bond money kept in the bank. Again, the goal is to turn her off, not to anger her. But the question remains, how exactly are we to do this? I'm not going to leave you hanging. More game for you, fella. First, as I said before, and bears repeating, first you must lose your ego. Remove your ego. You want to win, right? Or do you want to feel tough? You're a tough guy. As a man, you should want results in progress. No need for petty emotions. No need for an ego boost. You should already be validated in yourself. You need no ego boosting. You don't have to kick her to the curb to make you feel powerful and strong and manly and masculine. That is not necessary. Humble yourself. Get results. Discipline yourself. Control yourself. Master yourself. No ego. Again, we're not looking for any outside validation. So you pump and let her dump. But again, how? How are we to execute such a potent move? We have to have some solutions, right? To counteract this adversarial environment. This environment where it allows a woman's nature, her hypergamy, to run wild. The method is simple, gentlemen. Very simple method. How do you get her to release you? Using examples from my own life, the way I accomplish this is simply to show off my so-called weirdness, what the blue pill world would consider weird. Not in a goofy kind of way. Not no scientific experiments in a lab in a basement type of weirdness. I'm simply speaking of what separates me from the blue pill world. What separates me from the sheeple. After I hit it, I reveal how truly different I am. I am not a regular guy. I introduce me, not the actor that she may have encountered. Not that I necessarily lied to her. I just hid my identity, what's truly on the inside, superhero style. No mask needed. I don't reveal the inner parts of my thoughts and my being. But once that comes out, it is like a repellent because it is so against the grain. In the beginning, you meet my representative. We all have a public face, don't we? Now, you can say that you are always forthcoming and honest to everyone you meet. This is not true. All of us, and I mean all of us, have a public face and a private one. But in time, I reveal the intents of my heart, my thoughts and my ideas. Just not early on. It is the game, right? That's what it's called. The participant in the game is called a player. A player for sport. Also known as an actor. No need to reveal the real me in the beginning. Isn't she pretentious and superficial anyway? Do you ever get to meet the real her? Yes, you do. Initially, because she is as shallow as one single drop of rain. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. Shallow, but she's as deep as a single drop of rain. Her whole being is of the superficial and the pretentious. So when you pretend just like she pretends, you're just getting down to that low vibrational level that she's already on. So I reveal the real me to repel. So here's some examples, again, from my own life on exactly and particularly how I put on that repellent. I reveal that I'm a minimalist. No expensive gifts. In fact, no gifts at all, for the most part. No expensive dates. I don't spend money. And this is real for me. Yeah, I like to travel. I like to go to museums. I like to have experiences. And initially, when you're dealing with a woman, she may find that okay. But long term, she seeks the material. In fact, one of the reasons why she is in a relationship is so that she can be showered with gifts, attention, the material. Love is shown to her through objects and items and expenses. The more expensive the gifts, the more she feels that you are into her. When I reveal that no, I don't buy gifts and no expensive dates, no big dinners, no great outings, no concerts. It's not my style. I don't like crowds. This is instant repellent. I'm not doing it in a mean way. I'm not beating my chest. I'm just simply stating what my interests are and are not. Later on in the situation after I've met my goal. Now, it does take some skill to conceal this in case she may ask you things like that in the beginning. You just simply state that you like outdoor stuff and museums and stuff, and you leave it at that. But the time will come when she wants to go to the concert. The time will come when she wants you to show her your desire for her. She's going to want you to show her your attraction for her through the spending of money, through gifts and such. And you reveal, or as I can say, I reveal that is not part of my personality. No holiday celebrations is another. It's against my beliefs. Now, this is usually enough for them to walk away when you reveal that you don't do holidays. Now, I try to stay away from meeting new women during the holiday seasons that roll around. From so-called Thanksgiving to so-called Valentine's Day, I don't want to meet anyone. No new. But toward the end of the year, around, let's say, August and September, that way you can get rid of them by November when you realize, or when they realize, I don't celebrate so-called Thanksgiving. I don't celebrate so-called Xmas. I don't celebrate New Year's. And of course, I'm not doing Valentine's Day or Sweetest Day or whatever kind of day. There will be no flowers. There will be no cards. There will be no candy. There will be no jewelry, no diamonds. Now, what lady, so-called, do you think would want to be in a relationship with a guy like that? She will walk away, as we know she is the essence of materialism, and everything I stand for is the opposite of such. Majority of them cannot deal with this. For her, her life would be meaningless without the gifts, without the so-called holidays. Her life is lived through materialism. Life only as a physical being, devoid of a soul. Quick side note here. If you're not an Israelite, that's fine. Not my business. But are you, as a red pillar, celebrating commercial holidays? Just a question, if you care to answer it in the comment section. Do red pillars celebrate holidays? Something I would like to know. Just thought about that. Do red pillars celebrate commercial holidays? Do you sing Christmas carols? Are you going shopping? If you're dating, do you do Valentine's Day gifts? Is this blue pill stuff? Just let me know in the comment section if you care to do so. Anyway, back to my point. So when I push my minimalist behavior, it most certainly will push them away. She will walk away from me. She'll do the dumping. She'll do the releasing. She will dismiss herself from my presence. If that doesn't work, I also reveal that I don't spend a lot of time. I don't spend a lot of time with her. I'm limited in my phone conversation. For me, it's hard to talk to the modern succubus and snow bunny. Dum-dums is more than the name of simply a lollipop. I don't spend a large amount of time immersing myself in the chaotic energy that is feminine. I also, in small increments, reveal some of my red pill thinking. No legal marriage, which is a big disqualifier for her. She wants the legalities of marriage in every way. No babies, which is every woman's dream. If you can't provide marriage and babies, she will discard you. Now, when you meet her, she may ask you that out the gate. What do you think about marriage? Oh, one day I might, decide to do that. About babies, it ain't on my priority list now, maybe one day. And then when you get into the particulars after you get to know her, say that you don't believe marriage needs to have a contract. Alarm bells will go off in her head. You tell her you don't believe having babies is ideal unless you can live in another country. Alarm bells will go off. You didn't necessarily lie to her. You're just now giving specific details about what you mean by marriage and children and what you desire. And she will run away. And for you, this is the intended goal. Another method that works on the succubus is that I'll tell her that, hey, I don't watch Tyler Perry movies. I don't deal or watch anything or read anything dealing with T.D. Jakes. I don't watch Housewives of nothing. Turn off the television. I'm not involved with the mindlessness of such. Complete turn off. What do you mean you don't like Tyler Perry? What's wrong with you? She will walk away. And if all of those things fail, if you show her how red pill you are, you show her the minimalism, you show her what your idea of marriage and family is, you show her that you're not engulfed in the mindlessness of today's society. If all of those things fail, the last thing to do is to demand her submission. If all of those things fail, she still wants to be on the team, she still wants to deal, you demand submission. This would almost 100% turn her off. Do you know any of them who truly wants to be submissive? Be nice though. It's not about beating your chest. You gotta poke out your chest. Be nice. Be humble. But you demand submission. The game is about demanding respect, not being rude. I am always a gentleman. This is wise and civil. No gangster, no thug here. But again, the succubi will run from this. If she doesn't want to be submissive, she will leave, which is her default setting. But if she wants to stay, she got to play by your rules. And give her some rules. You have to dominate. She's in your world. It's your show. I make the rules. I run the show. I dictate the pace. If she stays, she has to be obedient. Works in my favor. And if she stays, she obeys the rules. Or she at least makes the effort. Everything done on my behalf, submitted to me, serving me, even though that may not have been my intended goal. I can work with that. But most likely she wouldn't want to do that. She's not going to want to do it. She will leave. It's a win-win. As long as you don't fall in love, you better not. And if you do fall, then hopefully she breaks your heart. We deserve such when we guard a relationship too highly. You deserve to have a broken heart if you fall in love. She is created for you. You are not created for her. She should value you more than you value her. We value our creator. So again, if she leaves, that's a win. If she stays, she must be dominated and submissive. That's a win also. Now, I'm not saying you move in. I'm not saying you change who you are. If she accepts who you are and she stays around and she's at your beck and call, you're completely running the show. You ain't got to call her every day. You ain't got to see her every day. It's your show. But we know 99.9% of the time that if you reveal this red pill thinking, if you reveal the differences that is within you, separating yourself from the blue pill world, we know that she will put on her track shoes and dart out of there. Very good. That's what we hoped for. On to the next one. And I do this all the time. This is a practice for me. Met a woman on Tinder this year when I was doing my online dating series. We'll call her Monique, changing the name. So I met a woman on Tinder named Monique. We went out, a little coffee shop. No, in fact, it wasn't a coffee shop. It was kind of warm outside. We went for a walk in the park. Talked to her, spit that fire game to her. Talked to her for about a week and a half. When I meet a woman, I never ask to see her again. I just keep talking to her like everything's good, and I'm waiting for that signal, that word when she says, and she notifies me and says, "Hey, when am I going to see you again?" I never ask to see a woman a second time. I meet her the first time. I request to see her the first time. I don't ask the second time. The second time, it's up to her. And when she asks me when she's going to see me, that indicates her interest. 9 times out of 10, I know this may not be your style, but we talking about myself here. May invite her over to the crib, feed her, because I'm a host. It's proper to feed your guests, no matter if it's male or female. I don't have many men over at all anyway. Brought her over, fed her, seduced her. She left. And that was pretty much it. Afterwards, a few weeks later, she started talking about going on a trip, meeting her friends. Told her I wasn't interested in going on a trip. I'm saving my money. didn't have time to meet her friends, and she just simply lost interest. Once she seen that I wasn't going to be the traditional guy in a relationship, although I would try to go through a house and hang out with her, hit something and leave. Once she saw that's what I was on, but I was nice, I was respectful. But once she see I didn't push that whole relationship scenario, that blue pill relationship scenario, Monique stopped calling. Thank you, Monique. Thank you. I didn't want to talk to her continuously anyway. I met another woman that same year, this past year of 2017. And, didn't want to date the video, but hey. A nurse, pretty well put together, decent looking nurse. Had on nice house in the suburb and big old fancy truck and everything. I run the same pattern. Walk in the park or a coffee shop. Seduce you. Show you who I am. And get that runaway. Beautiful thing. She mentioned that, she complained. We're going to call this nurse. We're going to call her Allison. So Allison called and said, hey, when am I going to see you again? Whenever she asks to see me, I always put a week on it. So she asked to see me on a Tuesday. I probably won't see her till the following Monday or Wednesday. And I would come to her through her house because she had her own place and everything, which was great. And I'll stay for a few hours and I'll hit the door. And she noticed this pattern and she called me up and said, hey, when are we going to go out on a date? When are we going to do this? And when are we going to do that? I said, I'm really not into going out too much. Maybe one of these days we're going to get a little bite to eat. And she put her foot down and said, hey, I want more. I want to see you more. I want us to go out. I want to go out of town. I want to go on trips. I want to do this. I want to do that. In fact, I think she was close to 40. And the other female that I mentioned, I think she was about 34, 35. Yeah, Monique was about 34, 35. This particular female, Allison, was about close to 40. And when women are 40, they're really pushing for a relationship. And when she seen that I was very reluctant, after I smashed, I would only come through for a hot second. Still nice, respectful, still a gentleman, not pumping my chest, not trying to be tough, none of that stuff. When she saw that I wasn't on anything more, that I wasn't going to do that ooey and gooey and sticky relationship stuff and that mushy and that gushy. Once she saw that I wasn't into that I wasn't going to give her that type of attention, that type of energy, because she looks for and they need emotional content. They need emotional energy. Once she seen that I wasn't going in that direction, the traditional direction of a relationship, that I wasn't trying to wife her up and go out on dates and be all in love and all this other romance and all this other crap, right? Well, she simply lost interest and didn't want to talk to me no more. In fact, I called her up and I said, hey, what's going on? When can I see you? And she talked about how that wasn't a good idea. And I did that just to check. Not that I wanted to see her. I did that just to check to see where her mind at. Did she release me? And she's like, oh, I don't think it's a good idea. We don't want the same things. We're not on the same page. Beautiful. Thank you, Allison. We aren't on the same page. In fact, the only page to be on is my page. And 9 times out of 10, the average female that you're dating, she's not going to want to be on your page. And quite frankly, don't care. Don't need you for that. I liked the way she looked. Wanted to get something new. Took care of the business. She released me. Allison, she released me. Monique, take a little break for several months until I get that desire, that urge for something new again. Catch, let her release. Pump, and let her dump. The wise and efficient way. Real game for your ears, gentlemen. To minimize the risk associated with dealing with the modern liberated succubus, rabid snow bunny, rotten Chiquita banana, to minimize that, to minimize the risk of retaliation, being smooth and calm, good game, pump and dump, catch and release, letting her feel empowered by dumping and releasing me. Real game, efficient and thorough. So if you are one of those who still seek to deal with women and you want to employ the pump and dump, you can use this surefire method to do it efficiently and safely. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification button, and if you'd like to donate, a link in the description box to the PayPal account. Thank you for listening. Stay well, stay red pill. Black Ram 313 out.